Hey guys, it's Bree. So today's video, we're finally going to be able to do my July and August wrap up. I've been meaning to film this, but I just haven't had the time to do it. So we're going to do my wrap up really quickly. So I actually did pretty well in the month of July and August with reading. I will say July was very audiobook heavy, to be honest, but I'm going to discuss that in a minute. The series that got me in a chokehold to do all these audiobooks and everything like that. But we're just going to go right into the stack to see what I read for the month. So for the month of July, I ended up reading 7 books. Like I said, I read 2 physical and the rest, I'm not gonna lie, were on audio, but even then I enjoyed a good amount of these. So let's go ahead, like I said, let's go ahead and just start what we have. So the first book I ended up reading for the month was Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. So this one we follow 2 mafia gangs in Chicago. So you have, is it Ada, who sneaking into the Griffin's party, she ends up setting their library on fire. And it's basically caused tensions between the 2 gangs, between the Gallows and the Griffins. So, what's it called? Their parents decide to marry them off to each other. So we have Ida, who's getting married to Callum, who is the only son of the Griffins, who is the Irish mafia, and everything like that. I will say this book, in my opinion, I enjoy this book. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy this book. It's giving how Neon Gods is to me, where it's not like the most groundbreaking like book, but it's very entertaining no matter what. I really like Ida. She literally was me to a T, who she basically hated everything. She wasn't the most like peppy person either, but I thought it was really, really funny. I will say I liked Callum. Don't get me wrong, I liked Callum, but he didn't give an impact to me like most book boyfriends do majority of the time. He didn't impact me that much. So he may be on my list, like the low on my list of my book boyfriends for this series. I don't know, we'll figure out when we read the rest, but I really did enjoy it. I really did love the banter between them. Like I said, they literally try to kill each other throughout this book too, and it's so funny. It is a shorter book too, like these Sophie Lark books, they are really, really short. I didn't even mention the series. This is the first book in the Birthright series. They're pretty short and they're really, really quick to read. So like I said, I did enjoy that one and very excited to continue on with that series as well. The next book we ended up reading was Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I finally read Icebreaker. I've had this book for about a year, guys, because I got it last year on my birthday, and not literally a full year. And I finally got around to reading it in July because it was hitting the year mark. And I will say, I really, really did enjoy this. So it was this one we follow Anastasia, who basically her dream is to be an Olympic figure skater. And she's very organized. Like, she's very, like, schedule ridden. She's very, very, like, a little bit more of the anxious type of reality and stuff like that. She doesn't like conflict and things like that. So from here, what's it called? She's having to share a skating rink with the hockey team because of an accident that happened due to the hockey arena. From there, she finds Nate, who is the captain of the hockey team at their university. And I really, really did enjoy this, guys. I really did like it. I can understand why people didn't like this book. Same was kind of like how Brutal Prince was. So, because a lot of people talk a good amount of sense about these books. This one, I understand why people didn't like it, to be honest, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really liked Nate throughout the whole book, and I will say there were stuff about this book that I'm just like, why would you do that? Like the whole situationship with Ryan, to be honest, like I understand it, but I feel like it was kind of unnecessary to like mention, to be honest, throughout the book. And then Aaron, I really hated Aaron. And Stassi, you need to get your stuff together, girl, because she gave him too much credit. She forgave him too many times, to be honest. And Nate, I loved Nate, like I said. I will say, this book was too long, in my opinion. I really don't have a problem with romance books being long sometimes. Not really. I haven't had like one that I'm like griping about. This one, though, was a little bit too long for me. This one was 400 and something pages, I think. Yeah, like 400 and something pages. It was a little bit too long in my opinion, but I really did enjoy it. I really did love the people. I love the characters. I love the found family aspect too, because they all live in the college house with all the honky boys and stuff. So I really did enjoy this one and really excited with the rest of the series as well. Then we get into all the books that I audiobooked for the month, which I had a really good audiobook ones, to be honest. So the first one we did was actually a reread. I recently got the whole Giver Quartet. Is that what it's called? Quartet. Yeah, Quartet for Christmas, because I really wanted to reread The Giver. And I didn't realize this was actually a 4-book series. I thought it was only a duology, but apparently it's not. So I ended up rereading The Giver because I really want to read the rest of the series. I really did enjoy it. I remember reading this in middle school. I think my 8th grade year in middle school, and I really did enjoy it. I did decide to do it on audio though, because even though I will say this is a short book, these are really, really short books, but I think it's really good. Like with some classics majority of the time, the audiobook tend to understand it a little more. So I really did enjoy my reread of this. And then what had me in chokehold the whole month of July. Okay, so this all started with me reading the second book in a series. I read the first book, I think, back in May or June. So I ended up reading the second book in July, and I kind of just read the whole series in general because, like I said, I audiobooked this whole series and I loved it so much. And that is the rest of the 5 Crowns of Oakrith by A.K. Mulfer. I read the High Mountain Court and absolutely adored that book. That book was so good. So I got the rest of the series and I audiobooked the rest of them and finished it all in a month. This was the first time in a while I have binge read a series this hard. Like, this one was so good. So we have, of course, The Witch's Blade, which I don't want to get too much into synopsis of these, to be honest, because one thing I will say about the series that I actually really, really like is that we follow the same storyline like most fantasy series are. Like, you have one thing you have in the book, then the next, and stuff like that. Like a normal series, you have a conflict occurring through the whole series. What I like about this series, though, is each book you follow a different couple. So the first one was Rue, was it Rue? No, it was Remy and Hale. Then in the second one, which is The Witch's Blade, you have Rua and Renwick. Yeah, Rua and Renwick, which I really love this couple, and I really did enjoy this book in general. Then you have The Rogue Crown, which is Bree and Lena in this book. And then you have The Evergreen Heir, which is Nilo and Talhan. And then you have The Amethyst Queen, which is Cameron and... no, it's Karis. Karis and Erison? Erison is the last book. Like I said, I don't want to say too much about this series in a whole, because like I said, it kind of gives up a little bit of spoilery going through this thing, but I absolutely adore these books. I absolutely adore these characters. I will say this though, I feel like out of all these books, the 4th one is probably one of my top favorites. I love the 4th one. The 5th one though, I will say, it was too short in my opinion. I felt like it should have been a little bit longer. Just a teeny tiny little bit longer, because I loved the series, and the way it kind of ended broke me a little bit. Like, I felt like we could have had a little bit more. We could have had a little bit more in the last book, but either way, like I said, it's a really good series. I really enjoyed it, and like I said, I was happy to finish it in a month no matter what. So that was all of the books I read in July. Now let's get into the books I read in August. So reading books for August, also really good. I will say a lot of these books were books, I think all of these books were books in series that I was reading. So we got to go through a lot of series that I was in the middle of. I think like both of these months I was reading a lot of books in series. So the first book I ended up reading was actually one that I started off the new series with. Because I will say, now going through my TBR and stuff like that, if I finish a series, I am allowing myself to start a new one, especially because I have so many series behind me that I have yet to start. And I have a lot of entire series. I'm letting that happen. So this was the series I allowed myself to start last month, and that was Belladonna. I actually started Belladonna, I think, towards the end of July, but I didn't read that much, so I carried it over into August. So we have Belladonna right here. So in this one, I think is really, really interesting because we have Signa, who is basically, she was orphaned really young, so by everything like that. So she's like going through guardians and stuff like that throughout her years, but a lot of them keep on dying because she has a weird connection with death. Like death itself, she's able to see spirits, she's able to like talk to him and stuff like that, but she's unable to die. So that's very interesting. So in this one, we follow her into her new home in the Hawthorne, what's it called? The Hawthorne estate. It's very interesting because this one turns into kind of like a mystery. So this one's kind of paranormal type of mystery. I absolutely enjoyed this book so much. I enjoyed it actually a lot more than I thought I would. I really loved Signa through this book. She's kind of unsure of herself, to be honest. She's trying to be a high lady of society, even though she never really was raised that way. She never really knew what she should be doing in society and stuff like that. So she's kind of like a little bit unsure about everything. And also, she, like I said, she's a little bit more not normal because she's able to talk to the dead and stuff like that. And then she's really connected to death through all this and stuff like that. I really did enjoy this book, and I'm very excited for the second one. So the second one is on my TBR for September as well. So I'm hoping to get through that, because I do have Wisteria as well, which I really am interested in that one, because that one has Blythe. Is it Blythe? That one's Blythe. So I'm very excited to, especially because the way this one ended, I'm intrigued to see how it continues. And the next book I ended up reading was one that was one of my most anticipated releases of last year, and I barely had gotten to it, is Vengeance of the Pirate Queen by Tricia Levenseller. This is one of the books that is a part of the Daughter of the Pirate Queen world. This one we follow Sorinda, who is the assassin to Alonza, who from the first two books, The Pirate Queen. So in this one, she basically goes on a mission to help rescue some pirates who were sent on a mission from the Pirate Queen, and she ends up finding something that she didn't really expect to find through this whole book. I really did enjoy it. I love getting back into this world as well, because I love these characters. I love everything about it. We do have a really weird reveal in here, to be honest, though, about some magic that's happening, something happening in this world that was kind of interesting to me. But then again, the first two books have sirens in it, so I wasn't too weirded out by it. But I feel like, I will say this, she needs to make more books in this whole universe. This one is a standalone technically, I think, so there isn't another book to it, but there are more questions that need to be answered. Not from like this book in general, like this plot line, but like from the ending, like what was happening with some of the other side characters in the book. Like their side quests and stuff like that. But I did love it. I did really enjoy it. I love Kieran. He is so funny. He's a simp for her, even though she hates his guts. So it's a little bit more enemies to lovers as well, but I really did love it. And I loved getting back into this world as well. Next, we ended up reading, like I said, another book in a series. So we ended up reading Scarred by Emily McIntyre. This is the second book in the Never After series. This one, is kind of a Lion King Hamlet. I think that's what they said, Hamlet. Inspired book and everything like that. I really enjoyed this book, actually. I really did. So this one we follow Tristan, who basically who basically wants his brother's throne. He feels like he deserves it more, everything like that, especially after the death of their father a couple years back and stuff like that. So he starts a rebellion to overthrow him throughout this. Then we have Sarah, who has other plans on basically overthrowing the king as well. So them two, it's a forbidden love, it's everything like that. It's kind of like a little bit kind of enemies to lovers a little bit, and everything like that. But she's in an arranged marriage, not to him but to her brother and stuff like that. I did enjoy this book, don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed it. I love Tristan in this book no matter what. I don't know what it was about this man. I think he was, because it was the tattoos. It probably was the tattoos in this book, because I loved him. But I will say, it was very slow. His book is slow burn. It was like 200 pages, I'm not gonna lie, before anything really happened, like in the romance section. It was slow burn. It was a little bit more slow paced as well. I didn't get through it as much as Hooked. It wasn't, like I said, I really did enjoy it, but I don't think it's gonna be like one of my top favorite of this series. But I still enjoyed it no matter what, and I really am excited to get on with the rest of the series as well, going forward. So the next book we ended up reading was King of Pride by Ana Huang. This is the second book in the King of Sin series. And this one we follow Kai. I freaking love Kai, guys. Let's just say that. We follow Kai, who basically, he is in the position of trying to take over the CEO position of his company from his mother. But in this one, I think it's interesting because they're voting for the CEO. He doesn't like automatically get it, so he kind of has to earn it in a vote and stuff like that. So in this one, he falls for Miss Isabella throughout this book, and she's the kind of person who doesn't really, it's not that she doesn't take things seriously, but she's kind of like a little bit more of an awkward situation. She likes to live life and stuff like that throughout everything. So they're like polar opposites of each other, and I loved it so much. I loved both of them so bad. I loved Kai. I loved Isabella, especially like I said, it was always so funny whenever Kai would walk up on her, like when she was talking things she shouldn't be talking about in public, but it was always funny to me. But I absolutely loved this one. I love the romance no matter what. It is more of that forbidden love romance too, but yeah, I really did love it, and I'm very excited to get on with the rest of the series as well. So many series that I'm continuing on in the next coming months too, which I love. Going on to the next book is Stolen Heir by Sophie Lark, the second book in the Abrodo Birthright series. So in this one we follow Nessa, who is Callum's sister from the first one. She is the youngest daughter of the Griffins, and in this one she gets kidnapped. Let's just say that. She loves, what's it called? She is kind of the more gentler child of the Graffia. She really didn't grow up around, she grew up around it, but she wasn't involved in the world like the other two were. So she's kind of like living a little bit in the shadows majority of the time. And she feels like she needs to, what's it called? She feels like a little bit alone in the world, to be honest, because of that. Like she feels like she's been treated like a child and stuff like that. But like I said, she ends up getting kidnapped by Miko, who is the head of the, I think, the Polish mafia, as revenge for what happened to his leader and stuff like that. I effing loved this book. Did I like it more than Brutal Prince? More than likely, probably. I really loved Nessa in this one because she was very, what's it called? She's a very caring soul. She's a very caring human being no matter what. So I love that even though she was taken, she didn't let it like get to her too much. And Miko, I know I shouldn't love this man because he kidnapped her. It should be wrong. But I loved him no matter what. I don't know why. I'm really loving this book in general. I think it is because of Tactics, to be honest. It's my toxic trait. It's giving Stockholm Syndrome. But you know what? I loved it no matter what. And I can't wait to get on with the rest of the series as well. I need to get the rest of the series though, because this is the one series that I don't have the next book to after finishing it. And I'm going to go crazy. So I need to get it as soon as possible. Excuse me. Heartburn, like always. So I can get it and read it. And then from there, guys, we ended up reading, this was the audiobook pick for the month actually, and I kind of savored this audiobook because I really was excited about this one, especially because the next book in the series doesn't come out till January. So I wanted to savor it a little bit more, even though I really wanted to read it so bad. And that was The Vicious Game by Melissa Blair. This is the third book in the Halfling Saga. I don't want to say too much about this book because, like I said, it's the third book in a series, and I need to read the next one so bad. But anyways, I effing love this book. Like I said, especially because the way the last one had ended, going into this one, there's so much heartache, to be honest. So much going on, so much grieving with Kira and everything like that. But you see a lot of politics going on throughout most of these books. This one is more, I don't know how to describe it, but this one is way more heartbreaking in my opinion. Well, not heartbreaking, but I'm like, there's so much like hope lost that she's trying to regain in this book no matter what. And there are so many different reveals. There's other things that happen towards the end which I was upset about. Girl, you need to stop doing this to me, to my heart. Stop doing this to me. But there is one big reveal at the end, which I'm not gonna lie, I did not see coming at all. I did not see this twist coming at all. So I was very shocked about that one. And I'm very interested to see how the next book will go on after like that reveal happened. Like, is he gonna be this way, that way? Let's just say it has to do with Ribbon. It has to do with Ribbon. But other than that, I really love this book. I really love this series in general. Like I said, I cannot recommend this series enough. Also with like the high, like with AK, like, oh my gosh, with the five, oh my god, I can't talk. I cannot recommend this series enough, along with like I said, the 5 Crowns of Oakrith. Those two series are some of my favorite series that I feel like are a little more underrated. They're so good. So I really do recommend this series in general. So that is literally all the books that I've read in the last couple months. My favorite books for the months, I'm not gonna lie, I had so many good reads. I don't think I can really choose a favorite book, to be honest. So we're just gonna love them all equally and everything like that. That, guys, is the end of my reading wrap up. Let me know down below what books that you have read throughout the month, which books from my TBR did you enjoy yourself if you read them, and I will see y'all guys in the next video. Bye.